roads in Canada? Or how do you think you ought to dress when you go to a fine restaurant? Or any ought and should, what do you think you ought to do to be a good parent? Pick a subject. The authorities, if you back up as to, well, where did I get that idea? They are largely external to us. We picked them up from somewhere. With some people, in prayer, it feels a little internal to me, but you are meeting with an external God who thinks he's transcendent. Parents, Bible, teaching, it goes on, and that's where I picked this stuff up. What makes you think you ought to go 55 miles an hour when you're on the roads of Canada? Well, I got the speed limit sign sitting over here. It's very external. I see it. It could say 95. It doesn't. It says 55. So I guess it's 55. That's the kind of thing that if you think about it, you will say, yeah, that's kind of where I got that idea. It's a little, yeah. The authorities for what we really do, however, are largely internal. So what you're getting into there is, well, I have this sense of duty. Now, you may not. You ask me why I'm really doing what? Or I have a sense of compassion. You may not. You may not give a rat's tail. I'm telling you, I have a sense of, and so it kind of stirs me. Or my experience. It may not be your experience. I'm telling you my experience. He had initials. I can't remember what they were, but it's my experience. Or my relationship with Jesus. I walk and I move and I talk and I pray and he, he stands at the door and knocks. I say, come on in. He's in. Or gratitude, or joy, or other priorities, or greed, or pick a subject, but it tends to be an internal thing. And because the reality is, we do what we want to do. And we're all in different places when it comes to that, but whatever it is, what we really do is what we want to do. Now, we're not necessarily that honest about it. When you open the story of Scriptures and you start the Adam and Eve story in Genesis, God says, look, you can have the whole stinking garden. I'm not talking about set apart 10% of the forest as holy unto me. Well, one lousy tree. That's all. Just one lousy tree. You got the rest of the thing. But you know the story, and after a while, you walk past that enough times, it becomes a little irritant. Well, why not that one too? And so we do, in fact, eat the fruit. Why? Because I wanted to. I was curious. Whatever. You have a reason for doing that. Yes?
Are we not giving, when we talk about time, are we not giving to the work of God?
Yes.
There's a whole lot of other things we have to give to.
Yes.
101 people have asked us for money for charity.
Uh-huh.
Are we not confining it now just to the work of God?
Yes, that's what we're talking about, just to the work of God. And I'm trying to get into why it is that we do whatever you write on your card. And what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, what in fact we think we ought to do tends to be an external, like the speed limit sign on the side of the road. At the end of the day, what in fact we really do is because I want to. That's what I want to do. But we're not always that transparent and honest. So when God did, back to the Adam and Eve story, when God did come and say, hey, whoa, get out of the bushes. I can see through the bushes. Come here. And did you eat from the one lousy tree I asked you not to eat from? And what's Adam going to do? He's going to say, well, you don't understand. It was this woman that you made, and she came and she, really wasn't my. Eve, did you eat from the one lousy tree I asked you not to eat? Well, you don't understand. It was this serpent thing. That's what it was. It was a serpent's fault. And that's why of course, serpent didn't have anyone to pass it on to, so he ends up rolling around on his belly the rest of his life. Anyway, the point was simply that we do what we want to do, but we're not necessarily that transparent. We usually come up with excuses. If I were driving down the road or back on the way to the airport, and I had my little collar on, and I was heading on, and I was a little bit late, and I know the speed limit is 55, this is a confession, I usually put the cruise on about 62, 63. And I'm zinging along, because I think I can get away with that. It's not quite, And so, but if that blue light goes off in the rearview mirror, good Lord, where'd that come from? Where were you? This is like dishonest. Where were you? And when they pull over and they say, hey, I clocked you to 63. You want to tell me why you're doing that? I'm probably not going to say because I want to. No, what you come up with is, God, thank you, officer. I'm glad you notified me. I was, if you have your collar on, I was deep in prayer and meditation. You'll come up with something better than because I want to. And so we don't always own up to whatever it is. But in fact, we kind of, because the reason I put it on 6th grade because I wanted to. But that isn't a good answer. That goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. I mean, we're not going to lay it out like that.